Rebecca's brother-in-law slammed the contract on the table with barely concealed satisfaction. You'll go to Montana and marry this rancher, or you'll find yourself on the streets. Those are your choices. She stared at the document, her hands trembling in her lap. 6 months of widowhood had taught her exactly how much her late husband's family valued her. They had tolerated her presence only because their son had insisted. But now that he was gone, she was nothing but a burden they were eager to dispense with. At 26, she had no money, no prospects, and no family of her own to turn to. Her parents had died when she was young, and her husband's relatives had made it clear she had worn out her welcome. He's a rough cowboy living in the middle of nowhere, her sister-in-law added with a cruel smile. Desperate enough to pay for a wife sight unseen, perfect for someone in your position. The implication was clear. This wasn't a marriage arrangement. It was exile, punishment for the sin of surviving when their precious son had not. Rebecca signed the papers with a steady hand, refusing to give them the satisfaction of seeing her cry. If they wanted to send her away to a hard life with a stranger, she would go with her dignity intact. The journey west took 2 weeks. Rebecca spent the time preparing herself for whatever awaited. She had learned to expect little from life and even less from people. When the stagecoach finally stopped at a remote ranch in the Montana Territory, she stepped down into ankle-deep mud, her traveling dress already ruined. A tall figure emerged from the barn, and Rebecca's first thought was that he looked nothing like the monster her in-laws had implied. Connor McAllister was perhaps 35, with auburn hair, broad shoulders, and eyes the color of spring grass. But it was the gentleness in his expression that caught her off guard. "Mrs. Hayes?" he asked, then corrected himself. "Rebecca, welcome." He looked at her mud-splattered dress and frowned. "I'm sorry. Should have put down planks." "Wasn't thinking." He shrugged off his coat and laid it across the mud. "Step on that. No sense ruining your boots, too." Small gesture, so unexpected after months of coldness, nearly undid her. She crossed the coat bridge, and he retrieved it without complaint. Mud and all? Inside the ranch house, Rebecca found something else unexpected. It was clean, well-kept, with curtains in the windows and books on shelves. Connor saw her surprise and gave a self-conscious shrug. "I know what they probably told you about me. Rough cowboy, middle of nowhere, desperate." He met her eyes directly. "The truth is simpler. I'm a man who works hard, lives alone. Thought maybe there was a woman somewhere who might want a quiet life with someone who'd treat her right. When the matchmaker said you needed a fresh start, I thought maybe we could help each other." Over the following weeks, Rebecca discovered that Connor's kindness wasn't an act. He never raised his voice, never made demands. He taught her about the ranch with patient humor, laughing when she accidentally let the chickens loose and helping her round them up without a word of reproach. He asked her opinions on everything from what to plant in the garden to which horses to breed. Most remarkably, he listened to her answers as if they mattered. One evening, 2 months after her arrival, Rebecca found Connor on the porch, watching the sunset paint the mountains gold and crimson. She sat beside him, close enough that their shoulders nearly touched. "They sent me here as punishment," she said quietly. "My husband's family. They wanted me gone. Wanted me to suffer in the wilderness with a man they assumed would be cruel." Connor was silent for a long moment. "Are you suffering?" His voice was careful, afraid of the answer. Rebecca turned to look at him. This unexpected man who had given her back something she thought she had lost forever. The feeling of being valued. "No," she said softly. "For the first time in years, I'm not suffering at all. I'm home." Connor's hand found hers, rough and warm. "They sent you here thinking it was punishment. But Rebecca, you're the best thing that's ever happened to this ranch." To me, he paused, swallowing hard. "You're my greatest treasure. I hope you know that." She didn't know. She could see it in the way he looked at her each morning, the way he saved the best portions of dinner for her plate, the way he asked about her day as if nothing in the world mattered more than her answer. Rebecca squeezed his hand, watching the sun sink below the mountains. Her in-laws had meant to break her by sending her west to punish her with isolation and hardship. Instead, they had given her the greatest gift imaginable. They had sent her to the one man who would see her not as a burden or an obligation, but as a partner, a companion, and yes, a treasure worth more than all the gold in Montana.